Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle, the wrestling video podcast here on YouTube. I probably say this in every video, but I'm working on something to try to get an audio variation out there, and we'll see how everything ends up playing out in the end on that one. But this episode of GodSaw's Turnbuckle is going to focus on WWE Smackdown Live for July 11th, 2017. And this wasn't a bad episode of SmackDown, but it wasn't all that great to begin with. Though it started off like it could have been potentially amazing to go along with everything. You had AJ Styles come out, and he basically starts talking up the U.S. title and what he's going to do with it, and he issues a U.S. Open challenge. So anyone comes out, everything in that sense. Lo and behold, who decides to answer but John Cena? And I loved how they play this off. You have Cena come out there. He's like, okay, just to clarify, you're actually meaning anyone but me. And then Styles is like, no, especially you. I want that challenge. I want that everything in that sense. I love how they play this off. They get referee down there. They do the introductions, everything in that sense. And then right as Charles Robinson goes to ring the bell, Kevin Owens interrupts. And he starts cutting a promo saying that, it's his U.S. title, everything in that sense. He's going to reclaim what's his, and he's going to be the one who beats AJ Styles. Which eventually, actually, before Owens gets in the ring, because Cena basically says, I think Cena says it's like, that he would run through Owens, then he would run through AJ Styles to go along with it. Rusev comes out and attacks John Cena, and then eventually Owens gets in there. They both beat down AJ Styles and John Cena, where AJ Styles takes up the pop-up powerbomb, and then Cena takes the AJ takes the pop-up powerbomb, Cena takes the accolade, everything in that sense, which does eventually lead to what was announced, I think, to be a tag team match a little bit later on in the show. Hot opener, and it kind of fizzles a little bit down from there. Up next, you had Ty Dillinger going up against Jinder Mahal. Lo and behold, though, mind blown, Ty Dillinger shows up on 2 episodes of SmackDown in a row to go along with it. But he's going up against Jinder Mahal. This was an okay match. It was pretty much a squash match for the most part. They did allow Ty to get some offense in there. They're obviously building up your WWE champion to be more of a threat and everything in that sense. And Ty's not considered to that level in that sense of everything. It wasn't a full squash match, but it kind of was in a sense as well. Mahal goes over. He cuts a promo after the match. Basically saying it's like, I'm going to bring the Punjabi prison to SmackDown next week, so we're going to get to see it and everything in that sense. We'll see if they make any changes to it. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll make any real changes to it, but he also makes mention it's like, you people still don't respect me, everything. Your typical thing, what you see from Jinder Mahal as of late. In general, I've been liking this promo work. I thought this one was pretty good as well. No Randy Orton this week, so we'll see where they go with that one. Rumor is that he was off filming what would be the go home show stuff for this already, so we'll see where they go with it. Up next, though, was Xavier Woods going up against Jey Uso. This was a quick match. But not before, this match didn't end before basically everybody getting kicked out. Like, you had, what was it, with the referee's back turned, like, Jimmy Uso trips up Xavier Woods, Big E, Kofi Kingston get into the ring, everything in that sense, and he kicks all of them out, and then eventually Xavier Woods goes over with a springboard, well, not a springboard, but like a top rope elbow while Jey Uso was hanging on the ropes, everything in that sense. It was a rather quick match. It kind of did what it needed to do. I guess it gives momentum to the New Day going into their next tag team title match at Battleground. Up next, though, after this, you had Shane McMahon and you had Naomi backstage. So Naomi was like, okay, we need to know who my number one contender is. Because, yeah, Carmella has the money in the bank. She can do whatever she wants. But we still need a number one contender, everything in that sense. And she was like, please just don't tell me it's Lana again. I'm getting sick and tired of this. Like a lot of other people were. This eventually brings in Charlotte, who's like, I should be the number one contender. Becky, and then of course Tamina and Natalya, and Lana comes in as well. What gets announced is a fatal 5-way match at Battleground with all 5 women, and the winner goes on to face Naomi at SummerSlam, which is quite a bit away. For that potential title match. Like, will they have something else down the road, and who would they have her go up against as well? Because even though Battleground's next week, you still got a good chunk of time until SummerSlam to go along with it, so they're going to have something else afterwards. So after all this, Naomi's still there. Carmella comes in, and she hands like a legal piece of paper to Shane, saying it's like, oh, you need to lift Ellsworth's suspension and everything in that sense. And he's just like, rips it up, throws it, and basically gives it back to her. Is like, no, it stands, it's good. And she basically storms off on that one. So yeah, that was all that area. Like I said, this SmackDown was it was okay. It was an okay show. It wasn't that good though. It wasn't as good as what they usually do normally in that sense. Up next, you had a Baron Corbin video, not video, but interview, basically talking with what happened last week, everything in that sense. He cuts a quick promo on Shinsuke Nakamura, which led into what was supposed to be the match with Shinsuke Nakamura and Baron Corbin. Nakamura basically did what Baron Corbin did to him at Money in the Bank, except he did it to his face, where he interrupts him during his entrance and everything in that sense. They brawl around the ringside area and then eventually get separated. They're playing it off as like these two guys just don't like each other or anything in that sense, and eventually had to be held back, and the match never ends up getting started to go along with it. I think they announced that they're going to have a match at Battleground. This was decent enough. It did what it needed to do, and it basically is like, oh, we're going to get the match at Battleground instead of here on SmackDown to go along with it. You had a backstage segment with AJ Styles and John Cena. I like this segment. They're playing it off as like Cena comes in. It's like, maybe you want to do this open challenge thing after I leave again or something. In that sense, like playing up his confidence and being able to win the title, everything in that sense. Like, no, I want you. And like AJ's like, no, I want you in a match again. You took something from me last time, and I'm willing to put this up on the line against you again. And basically get back my win, everything in that sense. So they're kind of teasing a match between the two of them again somewhere down the road, which would be the 4th singles match with them. You had AJ go over in the Money in the Bank one. Then at Battleground last year, it was a tag team match, but Cena goes over AJ there. At SummerSlam, they have AJ go over again in a one-on-one match. So like one-on-one matches, AJ's up 2-1, but I guess technically in matches they're 2-2 right now after the Royal Rumble victory for Cena to go along with it. Good promo from both of them. It's like, we'll handle this later. I've got your back tonight type thing. So basically both guys have there's basically saying it's like, we both have our back. We'll handle this business at another time. So up next, and this was announced during the segment where they announced the Fatal 5-Way at the Battleground pay-per-view, that Charlotte and Becky Lynch would go up against Natalya and Tamina. We had another tag match in this one. Again, decent enough match, kind of going through, they kind of went through everything here. Lana eventually gets involved, which distracts Charlotte and allows Tamina to super kick her as she's going for the figure 8 on Natalya, which she thought was still the legal person because she didn't see the tag to Tamina to go along with it. And Tamina and Natalya ended up picking up the victory out of it. It was an okay match. It was fine for what it was in that sense of everything. And yeah, well, it kind of just built up towards that Fatal 5-Way. Up next, you had a backstage segment, and these both kind of went back to back. It went to commercial break, then they came back to it. You had Maria looking for Sami Zayn. So she goes to the men's locker room, knocks on that door, and Chad Gable's the one that comes out, and he starts talking all this stuff. It's like, where's Sami Zayn? He owes us he owes me an apology, everything in that sense. It's like, oh, who? Sammy Hoo or Ho Ho or whatever it was. Like she looks at him, and is like, what? And it's like, and Chad Gable's like, oh, it's just a thing. Don't worry about it. And he's like, no, Sammy's not around. And so basically, she goes off looking for him. Eventually, they you have Mike and Maria backstage. They were like smelling flowers, everything in that sense. Sami Zayn runs into him, and Maria's like, so we need an apology. And I like how Sami goes like, well, I've apologized for the last two. Now I don't know what I'm apologizing for, type thing. And then he starts asking, it's like, what do you guys do here? Especially like Mike, or in that sense, like, you haven't really done anything. She's done all the talking. You've done nothing to go along with it. And then she plays it off as like, so he plays it off as like asking questions like, are you the companion, Mike? And she's the fighter, or like, how's this going? In that sense of it. Eventually, Maria slaps him, and then Mike Kanellis hits him over the back of the neck and head with a vase, and basically signifying that these two are going to have a match at some point in time, whether it be a Battleground or it's on SmackDown or something in that sense. But we're gonna essentially get Mike Kanellis's first match, and it's going to be up with Sami Zayn, and we'll see how that one plays off. The segment I thought was pretty decent as a whole. The stuff that they've been doing with Maria and Mike and the Sami Zayn thing has been pretty good as well. Going into everything, I thought and like I said, they even did something on Talking Smack where they kind of go back on both things, and like Sammy's kind of explaining himself to go along with it, and like, you should go watch Talking Smack for that one. It was pretty good stuff that they had for it to go along with everything. So up next, we had the Fashion Files, or AKA a variation of Walker Texas Ranger, because they were not in Dallas, but they were in Texas. And I like how they used the stock footage that they had from like one WrestleMania where Chuck Norris shows up, and at the end it says like, featuring Chuck Norris. No, not really. It's not in that sense. And they show up, but then you have like Tyler Breeze and Fandango. They're dressed up in the cowboy gear and the Ranger gear and everything in that sense. They have a little toy horse there, and they play it where they're riding along. They run into Zack Ryder, and basically they start. They continue the tension between the Hype Bros with Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder, because Mojo eventually comes in, and they both get interrogated. It's like, no, we wouldn't do, and they're like, no, we wouldn't do anything like that. It's like, we need to get our heads back into the game and back into reality and everything in that sense. And then, so they play off that, and then they as both Fandango and Tyler Breeze are going to leave, they was like, we got to get our horse, and it's taken away. And they both was like, who could have done this? Right in front of us. And then both of them, like, in opposites, that they go like, ghost, aliens, aliens, ghost, ghost, aliens. And then next week, and then they bring up a thing for next week, that they are going to do an X-Files variation of the Fashion Files, and that's going to be interesting. That's going to be interesting to see how they play that one off. And I think they had it in there. The truth is not H, or something to go along with it, go along as the tagline and everything. This is good stuff. I'm not gonna lie, this was good stuff. I liked what they do. I know it's a comedy role and everything, but this is one of those times. It's like, the comedy's good, and I can live with it. I can live with it on that one. Both of those guys can work the ring. And at least they're getting a role, and it gets them on TV every week, and they get to do something. And what they're doing is kind of knocking it out of the ballpark too, to go along with it. It's one of those few times, like I said, the comedy, it's good. It's actually good for once. So this leads to the main event of the night, which is Kevin Owens and Rusev going up against John Cena and AJ Styles. Again, decent enough match, but this one felt kind of house showy. It didn't really feel like it was something for building story or anything in that sense. It was just like everybody kind of going out there and doing their thing. That's all it really was. The match ended with with Rusev getting taken out, and then or what was it? It looked like Owens was going to go for a pop-up, or no. This is what it was. Cena was going for an AA to Kevin Owens. He gets out. Rusev super kicks him. AJ Styles phenomenal forearms him. And Kevin Owens goes after AJ, which he ducks, does the Pele kick, goes into the attitude adjustment, and gets the victory. Like I said, it felt very house show main event-ish to go along with it in that sense of everything. Like I said, it didn't feel like they were really building anything in there. I guess they're just going off as like, the stories kind of explain themselves, everything in that sense, and it is what it is in that to go along with it. So we'll see where everything goes with next week's show going into Battleground, and yeah, like I said, we'll see where everything ends up going. This week's SmackDown wasn't all that great, honestly. It was okay. It was an okay show. I'm not going to say it was a bad show by any stretch, but it was definitely below their par of what we usually get. Though we had some really good segments in here. I like the Fashion Files stuff, and I did like the stuff with AJ Styles and Cena, like them teasing to another match, and the opening segment was really good as well to go along with everything. So, with that being said, that's pretty much everything for SmackDown this week. I thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.